So the running joke around here is that it's a reservation. They took the raw natives of Pioneer Square and stuck us on this reservation and said, okay, create.
It's become so commonplace, it's almost a cliche. Artists move into a rundown neighborhood, they bring their creativity and cachet to help make the area hip and attractive, then the rents go up and the artists are priced out of the community. That's been the story in Seattle's Pioneer Square neighborhood, where gentrification combined with an earthquake, Mardi Gras riots, and post-September 11th depression have all conspired to drive artists out of what once was Seattle's most arts-identified neighborhood. Enter jewelry artist Cathryn Vandenbrink, who took on the project of helping create an artist live-work space in Pioneer Square. The result, the Toshiro Kaplan Artist Lofts. Cathryn.
Hi, Marcie. Welcome to Toshiro
Thank
Kaplan
you.
Artist Lofts.
Well, it's so much excitement outside.
Well, we have about 3 families moving in today, so it's pretty wild.
So this is the official front entrance.
This is the official front entrance. You'll notice that we do not have fancy carpeting. It's a concrete floor.
Is this what was here?
This is what was here. Well, scraped away. There used to be a lot of layers on top of this, so it's just scraped down.
And then we have what?
A wonderful big community room. It's about 1,500 square feet. Right now it's being used for a temporary flea market, management office, interview room, you name it. But we've already had one big potluck with all the residents that have moved in.
So. How many people are here so far?
Well, I think after today we'll have maybe 45 moved in, with a few more coming this weekend.
And it's only been open for about a month, right?
Yeah, it really shows what a need there was that this filled up so quickly.
That's
so
pretty
quickly.
exciting.
We have a waiting list already for people to come in.
That's amazing. That's great.
So we had wonderful architecture firm, Stickney Murphy Romine, designed the building, and when you see from the outside, it's like it's always been here. It's incredible.
Now the Toshiro and Kaplan buildings are two. It's not one building, and I noticed that's the Toshiro building.
Right.
So where is the Kaplan part of it? We're in Kaplan?
We're in the Kaplan building. And we added 3 floors to the Kaplan building. It's the larger building. So all the residential is within the Kaplan building, and the Toshiro is just commercial space. But one elevator serves both buildings. So.
Right there.
Right there. And I'm not sure we'll be able to use the elevator because of all the families moving in.
But that's pretty wonderful.
We'll see if it comes to us
let's
or
check
not.
it out.
Yeah, the light went off. We're going to need to take the stairs.
So we're on the
top floor.
Top floor.
The top floor.
It's
And we built 3 new floors onto the existing Kaplan building.
So this is brand new.
This is
new
brand
construction, but
right.
designed from the outside at least to seamlessly match the old building.
It just fits in with all the old buildings. It looks beautiful.
Were the Toshiro and Kaplan buildings landmark buildings for the city?
They are in the Pioneer Square Historic District, so they are considered part of the historic district. They were both secondary buildings.
Does that mean you are obliged to keep the facades, or that is
Not
recommended?
obliged, but part of what Artspace is known for is the fact that they do historic preservation and artist housing, low-income housing. So this was a really wonderful match for them in a community that was already identified as not only an historic district, but an arts district as well. So we're going to start with the biggest unit. This is 3 bedrooms. It's 1,800 square feet.
The size of a house.
And we have 3 units this size, and all 3 have families in them.
And so they are
wonderful.
Rented. Is somebody moving
Yes,
into this
they
space?
have not moved in yet.
So we can traipse through their apartment.
Yep.
Oh my God! Ooh, light in here is amazing.
It is fabulous light, and part of the reason for such great light is keeping in the context of the other buildings in the neighborhood of having large windows. And for some artists, this is too much light. Some of us walk in and go, oh, this is what I love, I want all this light. Other artists come in and go, oh, too much light, I can't control the light.
So how did you decide who moved into which unit?
Most of that is based on family size and income level. So some of the units are at 50% of the median income and some are at 60%.
And that's determined by the unit itself?
Yep. Yep, we decided which ones were, larger. And then the other is family size. So we really were wanting to make sure that these large units that had several bedrooms would be for families.
So in your mind's eye, if perhaps a visual artist moved in, they might work in the corner with the light if they needed the light.
Or maybe put in some partial walls or do a wall that would screen some of the light. They can build out their space. Everything has to be code compliant. That's one of the really important things about this project is this is a building where artists can live and work in a safe environment.
But live and work is the operative term of the artist lofts, and that is allowed in this building. Are there certain kinds of arts that can't be done in this building?
Certainly there are things that are not safe to do in a residential context, and those would be things that you would imagine like glass blowing, sculpture.
Kilns?
Yeah,
no kilns.
Well, you could do a small electric kiln.
Oh, really?
But not a gas-fired kiln or something
jewelry,
like that.
small kinds of things like that.
I love it that this building has these great views of the stadiums.
Yeah.
I feel like this neighborhood has become more defined by the stadiums, and it's nice to have a lot of attention back on the arts.
And I know at least 4 galleries are going in on the main floor?
Yes, so far.
So far 4 galleries.
So far 4 galleries, and we're also very hopeful that For Culture will move, formerly the King County Arts Commission will move in with their gallery for emerging artists on the corner.
Hi, come on in. Welcome. This is the Toshiro Kaplan, my new loft. I've been here about 4 weeks now, and I absolutely love it. And I've worked kind of hard to set it up to get it in a good place where I can work. And so this is sort of my office area and my sort of hangout living area. I do a lot of reading here. And I put my bed up in the air so that I could use the space under it. But this is the best part about this building, is the light and the studio space and the floors. The fact that I can mop them and clean them and make messes and things like that. So in here I've got my, kind of what I call actually my clean room, because when you work in textiles, dye has a tendency to get everywhere. And so I do a lot of cutting and sewing here, a lot of construction. You can see here that I've got pieces of fabric that are already painted. And then what I do is I put them together. And right now I'm working on a series of jackets and coats for, who am I working on for? For 2 museum shops. And I've replaced put down my clean floor here so that I can, so that it works really good for textiles and won't pick up the dirt for me. This building, I was really excited when I heard about the Toshiro Kaplan project because of the situation that I'd been in for a while, which was okay, but it was needing a big space with high ceilings, space that I can work 24 hours, space that I can have tools, basically kind of a light manufacturing. And several years I did the bohemian camping out in my studio, which a lot of people do in Seattle, which is kind of underground and people don't know about it. So that's why this building is so great, because it gives me an opportunity to have security, knowing that the rent is set, which is really important. And the most important thing is the community part of it. It's really important for me to work in an environment where there's a lot of other creative people working, because I feed off that. Art is never made in a vacuum, and my artwork is really responding to society and cultural issues and political issues and things like that. And I need that contact with people. I need the feedback. I also just enjoy working and hearing people work around me.
Well, so Cathryn, over here, this is wonderful. How does somebody get to live here? I mean, you have to be an artist, you have to be low income. What else do you have to have?
Well, that's always the first question, is how do you decide who's an artist? And first and foremost, it's people have to income qualify. That's really what it's about to begin with. But it's also meeting the needs of this special low-income population of artists. So we do an artist peer review process because really it's artists who know who other artists are.
So artists who live in the building or an arts committee?
To begin with, it's not people who live in the building, it's artists from the community. So I gathered together about 15 artists who said that they would help us do this peer review, and with them went over, put a series of questions together. And over again, what really is important is not being judged on the quality of your work. It's really about your passion and commitment for your work, and it's showing a body of work that you are actively involved and that you plan to continue to be involved.
Not just visual artists.
No. Oh, we have everything. We have painters, photographers, sculptors, dancers, performing artists, musicians. It's just really exciting.
And do you have to be a full-time artist?
No, because there are very few artists who can be full-time. You don't have to make a living from your work because, as we know, many artists in their lifetimes never make a living from their work. It's really more that that's how you define yourself and you have a body of work to show that.
So once you get in, do you have a lease? Are you here for a set period of time?
Well, this is a low-income tax credit building, so there are all kinds of regulations involved. We have funding from the City of Seattle Housing Levy money, from the State Housing Trust Fund, from the Washington State Housing Finance Commission. All of those monies come with regulatory agreements that have to do with income qualification. Now, you have to income qualify when you're accepted, but if you have a successful year, that doesn't mean you get moved on out. This is permanent housing, so people are not at the mercy of the market.
I was living illegally for years. With no kitchen of my own, no bathroom of my own, and no real privacy. So there was a time when they were having these inspections and we'd have to make it look like we didn't live there, put your clothes away. And I I made this little facade that went up in front of my bed. It would look like boxes. These are my basses. This is my profession is I'm a bass player. This is my big baby bass, my big mama bass. These are my electric basses, and I have a couple of other ones. This vintage Ampeg baby bass. It's just around for looks, pretty much. And one of my other basses in here. It's a really cool little upright bass. That's the kitchen, which is a nice thing to have, let me tell you, because otherwise, what do? You just eat in restaurants or candy bars or something. Not a very healthy way to live. This is my killer stereo. I have 2 bass amps down here and then my powered monitors up here. This is where I do a lot of my work, right here, sitting in front of the computer. I've been doing some producing music for Seattle Chinese TV, and just composing on my own. It's just amazing. I wake up and I have ideas, and my mind's not always churning, or not as much anyway. Still getting used to the feeling of, okay, I can relax now. I just start to create, and it's starting to kick in a little bit. I'm noticing a difference. I am noticing that my mind is more free just to work on art. Well, I'm hoping that more musicians will get housing like this. Usually these places, I've seen ads where they say, even occasionally they'll say no musicians, or there aren't too many places like this. And it's a little more difficult to be secure as an artist, but we just want the same things as everyone. We want to have kids and families and stuff, and it's hard. And things like this can help. And, maybe make us more dependable and responsible and good citizens to build a strong America.
So, Cathryn, how much did this, you mentioned all the funders, how much did this cost?
You ready?
I guess. I'll brace myself.
$16.5 million.
$1 million. Is that a lot of money for low-income housing development?
Well, not in a downtown location like this. We have a whole block in downtown Seattle. It's 50 units of housing and 38,000 square feet of commercial space, so it's a big project.
And I know it's put together with lots of different funding packages. Is it all paid for?
All paid for. We will be paying for the space for some 30 to 40 years.
Yeah. So we've been mostly touring residential spaces. I know that you have 30-some-odd thousand square feet of retail space. Can we go look at
Let's go
that?
look at the gallery space.
Okay. So where are we?
We're on the second floor of the Kaplan building. This is an all commercial floor. And this space here is Guardrail Gallery.
Blue ceiling.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
They just finished painting.
So not open yet?
Not open yet, just in the process of doing their tenant improvements. They used to be in Pioneer Square and then moved out and are coming back.
They must be so happy.
This is Soil Cooperative Gallery,
Which
who's
is on Capitol Hill right now.
coming back. And this is the new gallery, Platform Gallery. And then we will go into studio space for artists. This is going to be Artist Studios. Forgotten Works Gallery and Studios is moving in. This is 5,000 square feet. They will have all studio space. They're moving over from 619 Western, which has been an arts building for as long as I can remember.
And this is, I see that there are new pipes, but otherwise this is not an improved space.
This is pretty raw space. It's all of the pipes you see is the infrastructure for the residential space up above. But they will need to finish out this space. They are also leasing 2,000 square feet directly below us as their gallery space.
So working upstairs.
Right, and gallery space below. So there'll be 3 galleries down 3rd Avenue and then a gallery here on Washington.
It's very exciting.
So it's going to make this whole area come to life.
Come on in. We're building out this space over the next 2 months. Right now it's pretty raw, and we're putting it together in stages over the next 2 months. We'll be putting in lighting. There'll be a track lighting system in here, and office will be set up in back with some stairs, and that's it. We're going to clean it up, but it's basically going to be the space as you see it. The work doesn't need to have a cleaned up look. I mean, we need a clean floor, we need clean sheetrock walls, but we don't need to make this space into something fashionable. A lot of artists are working in spaces where they want to have the malleability of the space to create something, and that's part of why we're keeping the space pretty basic. The first show is the first Thursday of September 2004, and it's a show of Carly Fernandez and Keith Iordana, and they are both taxidermy artists.
Were there special kinds of zoning changes that you had to have in effect for this building to make it so that artists could live here and work in the space where they live?
Actually, no. The city has done a lot of, I've got to say that the city of Seattle is pretty progressive about this whole live-work issue. And in the city of Seattle, you can live-work in just about any zone.
Oh, really?
However, there are certain kinds of things that you can't do in residential zones. So things like we talked about earlier, glass blowing, sculpture, noisy, loud, or fire-involved things that would threaten someone's safety.
So there you were, getting involved in the community planning process. The actual official developer of this space is not a Seattle organization.
No.
It's tell us about that.
Artspace Projects is it's a nonprofit real estate development organization for the arts based in Minneapolis, St. Paul. When we realized that we needed to find someone that knew how to do this new animal. We have really good low-income housing developers here, but none of them had a mission to create space for the arts. So when we started thinking, how can we do this, we invited Artspace Projects to come and look at what are some of the buildings that might be available here. And they came, and they are so smart and have such incredible expertise. They helped us do it, and I was fortunate to be involved with them early on because I knew the neighborhood and I knew all the folks involved, so it would not have happened without Artspace Project.
So are you going to continue on in this new career of yours?
Well, I think it's one thing that we've really established is that there's a need for this in Seattle. We have a lot of artists who are working very hard to provide us as Seattle citizens with a creative community. And if we want to continue to have a vital, exciting, creative community, we need to provide homes for those people.
So will you continue working in this arena?
We have submitted a proposal for another project.
Where is that?
It's the Hiawatha Village site at Dearborn and Rainier. There's land there that we would possibly be doing new construction, but it's a competitive process, so we won't know until August sometime. It's taken 7 years to get this project built.
But you are not the manager anymore of Tashiro Kaplan.
I am not the manager. It's as we walk through, and I've shown you spaces, I have this magic key, and I realized for a year this has been my building. It's felt like it's my building, and now I've turned it over. It's the artist's building. It's their place and it's their home, and it's really wonderful to see them so excited. I mean, I meet people in the hallways and they say, I wake up and I'm pinching myself. I can't believe I'm here.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for giving us a tour.
Anytime.